Hi everyone, welcome to WesKnows Tech News and Reviews. So, are you looking for a watch that looks modern, that's good for your rest, recovery and fitness? Well, then you need the Polar Unite, a brand new offering from Polar and on sale from July 2020.
If you are new to WesKnows Tech News and Reviews, we talk about the latest tech news. We do brutally honest reviews and share hacks and tricks along the way. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification so you don't miss out.
I think Polar scratched their heads and finally realized that there are much more people out there just trying to get healthy or trying to get fitter rather than just the pro athletes. So they came up with the watch that is suitable for most of the public out there that's trying to lead a healthier lifestyle. Polar is famous for their decades of research into heart rate and physiology. Their watches are always based on science, and hence the popularity among the pro athletes that use the Polar watches. But the fact is, there are plenty of us out there also looking for a reliable device, something that will give us recommendations and advice, but actually based on real science. We need to be certain that the sleep tracking is accurate and that the advice given to us is spot on and is backed up by real science, by somebody who's done the research and somebody who knows what needs to be done to take the next step forward. Since we started the channel, I've been getting healthier and fitter because obviously we do have to take out the devices for test runs. So in order to improve on my current stats and going forward, I need personal guidance. Well, Polar finally heard the voice of the people and gave life to a very functional, modern-looking sport watch. Thankfully, it's got a very low price and it looks very attractive. So, welcome, Polar Unite. Okay, so before we get into the details, let's look at the highlights of the Polar Unite. What it looks like, where it got its roots from, and so forth. Just a couple of days ago, we posted a review of the Polar Ignite. And the Polar Unite seems to be almost identical in functionality lists to the Ignite. So really, it is the younger sibling of the Polar Ignite. The interesting thing is, the Polar Ignite is already priced relatively low, and it's in the $150 to $250 price bracket. That's the budget price bracket. So now we have the Polar Unite with almost identical functionalities, but priced at only £135 or $150. So what a deal. The Unite is a well-rounded watch with tons of advanced features like FITSPARK. FITSPARK is essentially your on-wrist coach, which makes suggestions into the exercises you should be doing today. The recommendations are done on the basis of the recovery after you slept, on your past efforts and your general fitness level. It also has the revolutionary nightly recharge. Essentially, it's an overnight recovery measurement which shows you how well you've recovered from your previous day's exercises. You also get a fitness test, which you can do just within 5 minutes. The heart rate monitor you get on the Polar Unite is not the cheapo you'd get on similar priced gadgets, and we'll tell you all about it just a bit later. The Unite features some smarts, such as the breathing app, and you can also manage your notifications, similar as to the Ignite. So on the Ignite, you've got your faces, your digital and your analog. On the Unite, it's exactly the same setup, but now you can add in your color themes just to spice it up a bit. Now, it's not groundbreaking, but it is cool. Okay, so we've covered the really good highlights, but this is an honest review, so we have to talk about the cons or the drawbacks. Let's talk about the basics. The watch case, the band, everything is plastic, like there's no metal. The only metal bit here is basically your charging pins on the back of the watch. But we didn't come to the biggest drawback of the Unite just yet. Here it is. There's no integrated GPS, it's connected GPS. So really, you have to forget about taking those long runs and cycles without your phone. You can't do it. There's no GPS, so there's no route tracking, there's no speed tracking. Hopefully we have intrigued and interested you enough, because now we'll get into the details of the Polar Unite.
The Unite's case is a round design, almost identical to the Polar Ignite, but without the steel bezel. The case is made of glass fiber reinforced polymer. The only metal on the case is due to the stainless steel single button. The case measures 43.4 by 43.4 millimeters, and the depth is 10.4 millimeters. It's very light, at 3 grams lighter than Ignite, and that comes to 32 grams. The band is flexible enough, and when fitted on the wrist it feels good. Nonetheless, because the bands are interchangeable between the Ignite and Unite, make sure to get the soft silicone bands that come with the Ignite. They're much more comfortable and nicer to the touch than the Unite snap and slip type bands. The display is an IPS 240 by 204 screen. It's touch activated. Now, I've heard some other reviewers calling it OLED. It's not. The display is bright and crisp though, slightly more so than the Ignite, making it just that little better to look at in direct sunlight. A slight letdown is that there's no option to increase brightness nor change display timeout. Also, there are only two faces available, and that's the analog and the digital faces. You get the watch face color themes to spice up the dial. As we mentioned earlier, it's not groundbreaking, but it is pretty cool. FITSPARK is basically a workout advice tool that suggests you do any one of the 19 different sessions based on your fitness, recent efforts, and recovery state. Once you select a workout, you then get a very useful explanation of the aim of the workout, such as intense exercise to increase your max performance under the cardio interval exercise. Hit start and the watch will keep up with your efforts by vibrating during your activity to remind you to stay in the right target heart rate zone. Just so you know, Unite supports over 100 different sport modes apart from FITSPARK. These are easy to find from your watch face. If you need more than the 15 presets, you can add the sports you require from the Polar Flow app. The fact of the matter is that fitness gains aren't made while you're working out. They are made when your body rests and rebuilds during the recovery stage. The Polar Unite is supporting this aspect with its nightly recharge. Essentially, it's an overnight recovery measurement that shows you how well you have recovered from the demands of your previous day. The nightly recharge status is calculated using your sleep score or the Polar Sleep Charge, and how well your autonomic nervous system, aka ANS, calmed down during the early hours of your sleep. Okay, there's also a fitness test that lets you benchmark your progress. During the test, the watch uses your resting heart rate variability, and your personal stats such as gender, age, height, weight, and training history to estimate your VO2 max. The Unite features the same precision prime optical setup as the advanced pricier Polar models. There are 9 optical channels using several colors and wavelengths of light and 3D acceleration, paired with an electrical sensor that measures the quality of sensor to skin contact. The Unite also features a breathing app, namely Serene. Much like a breathing app that you would see on smartwatches, with this app you do time breathing exercises. The visuals are quite basic, but informative enough to follow through. During the breathing exercises, the watch also monitors your heart rate. In the box, you also get a new charging pod. Unfortunately, it's not the magnetic disc we've been used to with the Polar. But then there's no charging cable. You simply snap the watch onto the pod and stick it into the USB port. I can see some sense here, but I've nearly lost that port already because it's so small and fiddly. Battery life is up to 17 hours in training mode, that's with GPS and wrist-based heart rate, and up to 4 days in watch mode with just the continuous heart rate tracking switched on. Well, who is it for? Well, if indoor workouts are your main interest, Polar Unite has everything you need. You will need your phone to get your route, speed and distance on your jog or bike ride. Hence, it's a solid beginner-friendly fitness tracker, but too much like a reduced in looks and functions Polar Ignite. The Polar Ignite has some more sport-specific features such as running index, swimming metrics and training load. If you're planning to start running as your main exercise, then Polar Ignite could be the better choice for you. If you have enjoyed watching our video review, please push the subscribe button below the video and keep watching us for more honest reviews.